Okay, so we are going to be giving the tutorial on how to do the Connect 10 activity. First of all, we need to get in the folder Unit 6, Ancient Rome. The activity is in the Friday, Monday, and that should say Wednesday folder where it says Julius Caesar. So open that for me. And if we have not already done so, the first thing you need to do is to click this link and read and annotate it. If you want to annotate it, you can make a copy of it. You do that by going up here, hit the file, make a copy, and then you'll have your own copy that you can annotate. If you don't annotate it, that is okay. It's not necessary. It's just, for me, I think it makes doing these type of activities a lot easier. So let's just read the instructions. First of all, it says directions. You want to make connections between each of the terms in the graphic organizer. You need to fill in all the blanks on the second page. Make sure to list the two concepts you are connecting and explain the connections in a way that shows you understand how they are connected in the document that you read. Your point total should be 18 points when finished. So the main thing, first of all, is that we want to make connections between two concepts. And we're going to look at this Connect 10 activity. We're going to come back for a second. But before we do, this book where we get these activities from does a good job of explaining the reasons why we are doing this. Okay, and for me, when I learned how to teach this stuff, it made a lot of sense when they kind of went through the rationale, the explanation behind it, why we're doing what we're doing here. So let's see here where it says. Okay, so here's a good point right here. It says that when students know a word, when you truly understand a word, they not only know the word's definition and its logical relationship with other words, they also know how the word functions in different contexts. I think that's a good example. We talked about this before. Like, for example, the simple definition of the President of the United States would be person in charge of the United States of America. But we know, because we have a lot of background information, that the President of the United States, that if we were truly going to define or truly understand what the President does, we'd have to have a lot more information, right? It wouldn't just be the person in charge of the United States of America. So that's the best one I see on here. That kind of helps us understand what we're doing. So we've got four terms. I think there may be five on here that we're going to connect. So let's take a look at our document so that you guys can see this. You'll need to open it with Cami as you do this so that we can edit it. And yes, it is five terms. So we can see our terms here. Our terms are plebeians, which we already know a little bit about who the plebeians are. Patricians, we already know a little bit about that. The Roman Republic, the type of government that Rome has at the time that we're studying it. Gaius Julius Caesar, the person that that many historians attribute the fall of the Roman Republic to, right? The decline of the Roman Republic. And then the word tyranny, which we've got the word tyrant up here on the board. I understand if you're at home, you can't see that. The definition of tyrant, if you want to write it down, it's pretty simple. Cruel and oppressive leader. So a tyranny is when you have a cruel and oppressive leader in charge. Now, down here is where we'll be making these connections. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to connect each of these concepts. Okay, you need to have at least one connection between plebeians and Julius Caesar, one connection between patricians and tyranny. Does that make sense? You want to connect all these terms together. Now, the question I'm getting from you guys at home is I've got three different, I've got three horizontal. There's only two that are connected. You are going to make two connections to two of these terms. Does that make sense? So like, for example, if you go up here, we connect plebeians and Julius Caesar. Well, you need to connect that twice, or you need to connect this twice. Does that make sense? You should have multiple connections you can make between these two concepts. Let me see if I have my answer key pulled up right here so that I can kind of show you guys an acceptable kind of what this will look like when we're done. Actually, I think if it's not already on there, Connect 10. Yeah, there it is. All right, so like just for example, I put Caesar passed laws to allow plebeians to find work. This made him popular among the plebeians and unpopular among the patricians. And then notice down here, I put my connection, the two concepts I was highlighting or connecting in highlights there. Okay, y'all got that? Y'all see what we're doing there? So go back to the annotated copy of Julius Caesar. This should be something I found. I think I highlighted it pretty early here. I don't have my annotated copy pulled up. But this is the defense of Julius Caesar. It says Julius Caesar was not a military dictator, but his goal was to fix the problems of the Republic, not to destroy it. Let's see where I can find it. Okay, right here. Caesar passed laws that were not popular among the patricians, but it was necessary to allow the plebes to find work and land. So how could we connect the plebeians and Gaius Julius Caesar? He passed laws that allowed the plebeians to find work, and this made him popular among the plebeians, okay, and unpopular among the patricians. Notice I've got a decent amount of elaboration. It's not a whole lot, but I didn't just put Caesar passed laws for plebeians, right? I went ahead and kind of explained my answer. So I've got an example here of a sufficient response and an unacceptable response. So this one is good enough. So notice, first of all, you need to make sure you tell me what you're connecting. If you don't do that, I'm not going to give you credit. Let me make that clear. If you don't do that, I'm not giving you credit because I can't read your explanations and then try to decipher which two concepts you've connected. It takes me too long to do that. So make sure that you put the two that you're connecting. So I've done that, patricians and plebeians. And then this is a sufficient response. The plebeians and patricians disagreed on their support of Julius Caesar. So this is a vertical connection we're making here. So if we look at our, right here, this is where we're making this connection. So this is a 2-point connection, vertical connection, just so that we know where we're at. The patricians did not support him while the plebeians did. The patricians felt like a new system of government was needed because Rome had become so large and corrupt, while the patricians saw plebeians as a threat to the values that existed in Rome. Unacceptable response. The two social classes in Roman society. We already know the two social classes in Roman society, right? That would be the obvious definition of, or the obvious connection between those two, right? We said there's a simple one, and then proof that we actually know the two words and what they mean and how they relate to each other. So that's what I want you to do. Now, just so that we understand what's going on here, like I said, I'm going to say this one more time because I think this is the most confusing part, is you will have to make, let's see if I can find it in Cami again. Here it is. You will have to make so like there's only two you're only connecting these. You have to connect each of these once, but you will connect each one of. All right, so we'll have to connect the plebeians and patricians once. You'll have to connect Julius Caesar and tyranny once. But then you need to make another vertical connection to meet the points total. Does that make sense? So 3 total vertical connections, 3 total horizontal connections, and then 3 total diagonal connections. So you won't have to make, do I have 4 for the horizontal? No, or diagonal? No, just 3. So you'll actually just connect 3 of these terms to the Roman Republic, not 4. So you don't have to connect each of them once. You have to connect these 2 once, these 2 once, these 2 once, these 2 once, and then pick 3 of these 4 terms to connect with this one. But the tricky thing is that after you've connected these things once, you have to come back and connect them again. So we just said the plebeians and patricians disagree over their support of Julius Caesar. Well, if you want to connect the plebeians and patricians again, find another connection. How else are they connected, right? Does that make sense? Y'all good with that? Okay, that's how we did the Connect 10. I want to be walking around making sure we're doing it. If you're at home and you're completing this activity, then send me questions so I can help you get through it. You may have some questions as you go through it. You may have some difficulty finding connections. That's what I'm here for. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Again, let me know if you have any questions.